2017 A7 Quattro rear brakes. I'm finishing up on this side here, and then I'm going to go do a complete walkthrough on the other side. I already released the parking brake with the scan tool. I'll have to show you because it wasn't recording. I'll have to show you on the scan tool just how it see, these are the slide pins here. Just trying to work and think and talk at the same time. Grease the slide pins here, doesn't take a whole lot. Just pop them out and do like this, pop them back in. So the scan tool will reset the electronic parking brake. You have to tell the vehicle that you're changing brakes so that you can push this piston in. It'll actually wind the caliper piston back in for you. Not really, but you know, it'll wind in the screw, and then you have to push it back in like a standard caliper. So I wish I would have gotten that on camera, but we'll get it next time. This is my first real time using the GoPro head-mounted camera, so I'm still getting used to hitting the record button and what it does. So when we get this caliper bridge out, I always like to hit it with a wire brush. It's not necessary to always replace this hardware. A lot of times I prefer just to clean it. You always like to inspect it anyway. Now, I've showed where you can pop these rotors off with pry bars, but a lot of times it's also just as easy just to give it a quick tap. It pops right off. Now we got new Brembo pads and rotors. Alright, this is what we got. Let's take a look at it. Is it legit? It looks pretty legit. Brembo brakes, best of what you can get. Let's see here. Now these are packaged without assembly oil. That's how I like it. Some of these, they bathe these rotors in oil, and you have to clean them off first. So let's go ahead and just get both of them ready to go. Some people joke about a right and a left rotor, but that is a possibility. If you have vanes that are going a specific way, you'd have to put them on in order. So here's the pads. Should come with wear sensors. Comes with hardware as well. There's the wear sensor, there's the bolts. Like I say, I'm just going to keep the old hardware on. Yeah, that's genuine Brembo. Some nice stuff. Alright, you know it's good whenever it's detailed and stamped. And so, in that specific case, I'm not worried about cleaning the hub. The hub looks pretty clean. But I am worried about putting the set screw back in. The set screw is right here. It really frustrates me when people don't put this set screw back in. Now we got our caliper bridge. A longer bolt goes on top right here. Just kind of jostle it around until you get it lined up. Then follow it up with your ratchet. It's that time of year, friends, when you live in the hood and you got to ask yourself, Was that fireworks or was that gunfire? This one doesn't feel like it's, there we go. Didn't feel like it was getting tight at first. So these get really tight. Just go ahead and crank them down. All right, that's good enough. Now we've got the inboard pad here is the wear sensor pad. So plop that in. And I already pushed this caliper back, so we'll show you all that on the other side. And actually, this wear sensor is still good and it still has the tab in it, so I'm just gonna pop it right back in. And then clip it in right here. Then we just have, remember, our weighted bolt up top here, and the bottom one is not weighted. And then usually you can just screw these right in and they'll cinch themselves up. That one's tight. All right, this one I have to hold with the pliers. It's not cinching itself up. All right, that's tight. Tight. Now let's plug it back in. And it's time to bolt our wheel back on and go to the other side. Lined up. I like to move this impact down to number 1 to start. Get it on number 2 now. And then just tap it on number 3. Get these caps here. Let's move to the other side. Now, as I was saying, on the other side, there's little pads underneath here. You gotta, on the newer Audis, we've got lift points. So we're gonna make sure that we're all the way cinched up to that lift point, because that jack on this gravel isn't gonna wanna slide very well. We're gonna make sure that the wheel gets all the way off the ground. If you didn't have a nice powerful impact like myself, you wanna bust these wheel studs loose before you jack the vehicle up. And I gotta just move all this stuff over to the other side. And there we go. Now these cap pullers, specific Audi VW cap pullers, so you don't put needle nose pliers or something in there and jack up your rims. Let's go ahead and just zip this T30 out, set screw. It's always the best practice to take this out with the impact driver, the hammer impact driver. Let's set that to the side, and let's get these 13 millimeters out. Follow it up with this wrench here. This side does not have a wear sensor. Alright, now you roll this caliper off, just like so. We already released the caliper. I like to take my pair of Nipex pliers here. You see there's a special tool for this where you just screw it in like this. It's really easy, but this is also really easy. I don't push against any of this plastic. I take my Nipex pliers here and I push it against that bolt, and I just gently push this caliper in. Now, like I said before, this caliper will not push in until you tell the car that you're replacing brake pads. It has to screw in that electromechanical parking brake. It's all the way pushed in now. Now we're ready to pop these brake pads out, brake pad thickness. We're ready to pop these slide pins out, dunk the slide pins in some grease. Right, slap the slide pins back in. Those are greased up, ready to go. And now we're gonna take our 18 millimeter and get this caliper slide bracket out. There's a long bolt back here. And this bolt back here. See, this stuff you can't really see, but there's bolts back there, trust me. Come on now. Long-winded bolt. Now we're going to just tap this rotor off. I could have reused those rotors, it would have been fine. But on the other hand, this is a pretty new A7 and I don't want to deal with brake noise complaints for the $100 that it would have cost to just put the rotors on. Sometimes it's nice when you got nice new cars to just go ahead and not cheap out all the time. So we're gonna toss this Brembo brake rotor on here and line it up right there. Toss the set screw in. Get that seated. Get our caliper bridge out and wire brush it. Like I say, I prefer to just wire brush these. Keep the existing hardware on there. long bolt up top. Just jostle it around until it starts. Shorter bolt on bottom. A long-winded bolt. All right, get it nice and tight. This side, no wear sensor, but I'm still gonna put the wear sensor pad in the back because that's how we would have it. And then you see how you put these pads in, you just put them in like this and then you rotate them in. And of course this one's gonna fight me. See this clip right here, we just need to make sure that we're clearing the spring tabs and then it pushes in nice and even. Now with our caliper pushed in all the way, weighted bolt on top. And let's see if it cinches down. Kind of hold that nut. Nope, we gotta plier it up. Tight. Tight. Now we're ready for the wheel. Get it centered up. Let's start at 1 again and do this same thing. And 3. And caps. Then we cannot forget our last step. Our last step is telling the car we're all done changing brake pads. Go back to your natural state. I'm gonna drop it back down. Get this out of the way, and then the ignition is still on. I'm just going to finish out this scan tool work. Replace brake pads. Did you replace them? Yes. It's going to tell me. That right there was the brake caliper finding its stops. And we're gonna go back here and tell the computer that we installed the wheels, brake pad change was successful, and we're all done. Exit out. And we're done here as well.